Authorities are now looking at the possible local transmission of the Omicron variant after the husband of the fourth patient infected with the new strain also tested positive for COVID-19. Vice President Leni Robredo visits Bohol as she continues her trip to communities affected by Typhoon Odette, while Senator Ping Lacson visits farmers in Benguet. Authorities confiscate illegal firecrackers in Bulacan just days before the New Year celebrations. And actor Enchong Dee gets indicted over the cyberlibel complaint filed by the congresswoman who received a backlash on social media over her wedding at a luxurious island resort. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know to jumpstart your day. I'm Riza Diaz. Omicron variant cases in the Philippines remains at 4, but the husband of the latest case could possibly add to the tally after also testing positive for the coronavirus. JC Cosico will tell us more.
With 4 cases of the Omicron variant already detected in the country, the government is already gearing up for a possible surge in COVID infections. After all, the said variant is more transmissible than previous strains. For a start, the IATF has already met with local governments following the recent uptick in cases.
Our border control is working. Second, titingnan namin yung hospital capacity, and also we are also looking at our TTMF, our treatment capacities, and also the treatment medicines.
Another Omicron case might be added to the list. The husband of the fourth case of the variant tested positive for COVID-19. The couple arrived in the Philippines on December 10. Both tested positive for COVID-19 and were isolated. After 10 days, they were discharged as they were already asymptomatic. Results for the woman's sample came out first, as it was sent first to the Philippine Genome Center. The husband's sample will also now go through genome sequencing. Their household is now isolated, with members set to undergo COVID-19 tests. In an interview with the chiefs, Dr. Research says there is no community transmission yet of the Omicron variant.
What is striking about the 4 Omicron cases that we've detected so far is that all of them were detected in quarantine. When we first detected the Delta, the Alpha, they were already in community transmission.
But for an infectious disease expert, it's just a matter of time for another surge to happen.
But the question, will this be an Omicron-driven surge, or will this be a Delta-driven surge? But if it's an Omicron variant, which is really highly transmissible, the scenario of having more cases will still be a threat to our healthcare utilization.
With the looming threat of the Omicron variant, government is likely to extend Alert Level 2 until January. Should there be a need for lockdowns, vaccine czar Carlito Galvez says it will still be granular.
So basically, hindi tayo gagawa ng very drastic action that will greatly affect our economy.
The country's Alert Level 2 status will lapse by January 1. For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
NTF Special Advisor Ted Herbosa believes the husband of the fourth Omicron variant case in the country may also be infected with the latest variant. Speaking to us yesterday, Herbosa emphasized the importance of finding out if the man is infected with the Omicron variant. The health expert explained that if he did not travel, he would be the first recorded case of a local Omicron transmission. Herbosa also told Sa Totoo Lang that because of the threat of the latest COVID variant, it's better to keep Metro Manila under Alert Level 2.
There are people who are claiming ibaba na to Alert Level 1. I am one of the few who think Alert Level 2 stays. We need to keep people cautious, magsuot pa rin ng mask, prevent pa rin natin yung mga high-risk events, yung mga super spreader events like mass gathering, mga big parties, big concerts. Talagang hindi pa siguro po pwede with the threat of the Omicron variant.
Meanwhile, Health Secretary Francisco Duque said that adjustments need to be done in the country's health system amid the Omicron threat. In an interview with a big story, Duque assured the public that we have enough capacity to deal with the surge. But for the health chief, it is still safer to review our health system capacity in light of the more transmissible COVID variant.
In terms of the transmissibility, there are reports saying that the Omicron cases are mild relative to Delta. But if you consider that as an upside, relatively speaking, this can be easily negated by its transmissibility, which will translate into many, many more cases, which can threaten our health system and overwhelm the health system's capacity. So, maapektuhan lahat yan. So, we have to really watch this very closely, and for planning purposes, we have already asked our Epidemiology Bureau of the DOH to come up with definitive projected number of cases, given a set of assumptions.
Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez says over 4,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine were wasted due to power interruptions caused by Typhoon Odette. Galvez says the total number of doses wasted because of Odette has reached 4,120, and these are from areas heavily affected by the typhoon, including Cebu, Palawan, and Leyte. Now, despite this, the vaccine czar says some affected LGUs like Cebu have resumed vaccinations. He says these areas can also take part in national vaccination days, but only if more than 50% of their power have been restored to ensure that the vaccines will not be compromised. The government is also eyeing to conduct massive 3-day vaccination drives per month.
We are considering that we saw that mas marami pumupunta pagka alam nila may vaccination site, considering that they are working.
3 days every month?
We are looking at it.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Now here are the latest updates from our presidential aspirants. Vice President Leni Robredo visited families in the coastal town of Tubigon, Bohol, one of the provinces hit the hardest by Typhoon Odette. Robredo joined the local officials in inspecting the extent of damage to the province and discussed rehabilitation efforts for the affected communities. She also shared relief goods with the families in the area and vowed to provide housing materials to help families rebuild their destroyed homes. Meanwhile, Senator Ping Lacson visited farmers in Benguet to check on their situation. In a Facebook post, the presidential hopeful said he personally heard the woes of local farmers over illegal imported vegetables. The cheap selling prices of these illicit goods make it impossible for farmers to compete without them selling at losing rates. Now, the Trade Department seized illegal fireworks being sold at some stores in Bohol, Bulacan just days ahead of the new year. The agency warns both the manufacturer and the retailer can face fines for the sale of unregistered fireworks. Jared De La Peña with the details.
The Trade Department made rounds days before New Year's Eve and confiscated illegal firecrackers in Bohol, Bulacan. The agency found 7 stores in the area that are selling 9 brands of unregistered firecrackers, including one from a licensed company.
Hindi naman po namin alam na bawal yan. Tulad po ng diamond, lisensyado. Alam po namin lahat po ng items nila, lisensyado.
Those caught selling may pay a minimum of 17,000 pesos in fines. The manufacturer will also be penalized by as much as 300,000 pesos and could face imprisonment as well.
It's very difficult kasi to say that they do not know that these products are not covered by the license. Kasi nga, when you sell a regulated product, dapat you're aware of what the requirements are.
With just days before the New Year's Eve, prices of firecrackers have skyrocketed. Jay was not able to buy much from his 1,000 peso budget.
Napakamahal, parang doble. Ang budget ko lang po sa paputok, 1,000 lang. Pagka sobra, hindi na ako nagdadagdag.
Sherwin also has the same budget for firecrackers. He opted to buy as early as now to avoid the crowd.
Para hindi na umano sa mga tao, siksikan na po kasi dito pagka yung malapit na yung New Year.
Aside from firecrackers, the DTI also inspected supermarkets in Caloocan to check if prices of food items commonly served during medianoche are being sold within the SRP. However, some grocery stores have already ran out of ham and queso de bola.
Mag-order po kami. We hope na magkaroon ng additional allocation yung mga suppliers and manufacturers. Hindi na-anticipate ng mga supplier na ganun pala talaga ka-excited ang mga tao na mag-Christmas and mag-New Year's. Kaya malaki talaga yung demand.
For News 5, Gerard De La Peña, We Are One News.
Actor Enchong Dee has been indicted over the cyber-libel complaint filed by party list representative Claudine Bautista Lim. Recall that Bautista Lim faced backlash on social media for her July 26 wedding at the luxurious Balasin Island Resort in Polillo, Quezon. Many celebrities called the congresswoman out for her lavish pandemic wedding, while Enchong Dee explicitly imputed that Bautista Lim engaged in malversation of public funds. This after he tweeted that the money for drivers and commuters obviously went to the sectoral representative's wedding. Bautista Lim is a representative of the Drivers United for Mass Progress and Equal Rights, or Dumper Party list. Other celebrities like Agot Isidro, Pokwang, Ogie Diaz were also included in the cyber-libel complaint, but only Enchong Dee was indicted by a panel of Davao Occidental prosecutors. And that is how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later again at 9 in the morning as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now, www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.